Good evening, everyone. Now I'm gonna call for the Public Work Committee meeting on Tuesday, May 4th at 7:27 p.m. Now, we're gonna forego this silent and meditation and pledge of allegiance, since we already had it. Madam Clerk, please may I have a roll call.
Roll call. Chair Perella.
Here.
Vice Chair Nickerson.
Here.
Member Martin.
Here.
Also present for the record, Janice Jacoby, Village Clerk, Interim Village Attorney, Joseph Geller, Village Manager Christia Alou. Also present for the record, Vice Mayor Erbaum. You have a
Thank you,
quorum.
Madam Clerk. Thanks. I'm gonna go and, can I have an approval of the agenda? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Okay. Aye. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none. Let's go ahead and, there's acknowledgement of visitors and any special presentations. We have none. So we're gonna go ahead and, can I also get a motion for the approval of the minutes of the meeting held on January 5th, the public committee meeting?
Motion to approve those minutes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Had a motion approved by, made by Mayor Nickerson and second by Councilwoman Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, hearing none. Let's go right to good and welfare. This is part where any members of the public, anybody can say anything they want. And anybody? Okay, seeing none, let's go right into the agenda items. Basically, let's go to agenda item H1, which is active public work projects. We have parks, and it's just giving a little briefing of everything that was that's been going on. As we all know, the last council meeting, we actually approved some of the these items, and we had a little briefing of everything. With the parks, we actually got an okay from the Miami-Dade. We were waiting for their answer to see whether we could actually work on the two parks that were deeded to El Portal. They're not being deeded to us, but we gave it, they gave us the permission to work on the parks and proceed with the project of beautifying the parks and all of that. So we are now into going back to the city, Net Miami, right? Neat Miami.
County.
The county.
Yes.
Right? And I'm sorry, thank you, Madam Manager. And for them to actually design the master plan to proceed with the design of the parks and all of that. So that's great. Another point, there's any questions? Anybody has anything to say about the parks, or everything's good? Perfect, thank you. And again, I'm gonna go through the points, and after we finish with all the items, we then will open it to the public. So if anybody has anything to say, they can just say. So we also have the internship pilot program, which it was something that, if you can
Expand on it?
expand on it.
Sure. So
Madam
since we
Clerk.
first spoke about possibly resurrecting this, I have had conversations with representatives from Miami-Dade College, and they have expressed some interest. So I will say that my conversations with them, it wasn't an internship program that was primarily targeted towards public works, but just generally to have some students that were interested in public administration come in and possibly slot into various roles. So we're still hashing out what exactly that program looks like, because as you all understand, when people work, they do prefer to be paid, and this is an unpaid internship program, so we're still working out the specifics, but as soon as we come up with something that I think is beneficial to both, I will go ahead and just slide the baton to the manager and have her look over it and give, and the attorney as well, to make sure that all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So it is in progress. I would probably anticipate seeing something about it at the following committee meeting when we meet.
Perfect. Looks good. Thank you very much for your work. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Next, we're gonna go into public work maintenance position. As we all know, the manager mentioned in the committee meeting and the council meeting that the public work staffer had resigned, and so right now we're gonna have, the manager had actually contracted the cleaning crew to actually also do the work in the parks and do a little bit of cleaning. And like she stated, she preferred to keep it like that until we actually get the truck, the public work truck, to have, a public work staffer that actually has a vehicle and do the work. So that's that. And the last one will be septic to sewer status. So we're very excited to finally get into an agreement with Pennoni, which is the vendor we had hired to design the project. And so as we all know, we just left with the 8% of the project pending due to the problems we had with the easement and all of that. So everything has been, thank you, big thanks to the Attorney Geller, manager, and I know Mayor Nickerson was also involved with some of the conversations, so great. So I'm very, very happy to actually seeing this being finished for once, and it's just great. Madam Manager, if you have anything to say, any
Just about
Anything to add?
this septic to sewer project, I can say that if we get this, we have gotten it all worked out. So now we're moving forward. That's wonderful. We will be one of the first in the county to proceed. We are being used as a benchmark for other municipalities when it comes to septic to sewer. And I know it doesn't affect the entire village, but that little piece in the west side will be very beneficial to the rest of the county, because it shows that it can be done. And, we will then work on the next phase from that. But it is a milestone for the village. And yes, we'll be meeting with the school principal, Dr. Thompson, on Friday, me and Mayor Nickerson, to just hammer out all of the details about the easement and then the other items related to the nature trail. But we are ready to go with the septic to sewer project now.
Perfect, thank you. Anything to say, Mr. Geller?
Thank you, Councilperson. And let me just add, once they're done with this is the design phase. They will then assist us with preparing bid documents. We'll bid it out for whoever can do the specific work outlined at the best price. And it's contemplated that they will then act as our construction manager. So the entire project, or close to the entire project, is paid for with loans from the state Department of Environmental Protection that are close to zero interest, and they're over a 20-year period. So it's not, principally, there's a few little things, but most it's not an outlay of funds directly from the village. It's funds that we're getting elsewhere. And if this portion goes according to plan, the contemplation is that we would then try to proceed with other areas in the village. And, there is the El Jardín project that's already being done. That's another area. And the idea is that this first one, the pumping station, actually covers a considerably larger area than the actual septic to sewer. So once we've done that one section, the pumping station capacity will exist to proceed to do other areas and hook them up as well. So this is this is really, as you say, it's the first stage, so important one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. And yes, that I see that I jumped at the El Jardín project. A little briefing, Madam Manager, about the El Jardín project. The little update we had.
Yes, absolutely. We will be putting out an RFP. I'm going to be working with the engineers at Craig A. Smith to assist me with preparing that RFP so that construction design can move forward now. So yeah, we're all on, good things are happening with El Jardín and with our septic to sewer conversion.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Madam Manager. Okay, now, if there's any questions, from the council?
Mr. Chair, if I can.
Yeah, sure.
I just wanted to say, Mr. Chair, that, dealing with all these public works projects and things like that, almost on every meeting, the mayor has to be there just because the mayor is who they ask to be in these meetings, because we have to the mayor, the manager, the attorney have to sign off on like the final agreements and stuff like that to get these things done. But I just want to take time out to just to acknowledge the diligence of you, Mr. Chair, being the Public Works Chair. You're always on top of these things, and I really wanted to point that out and just say thank you for all the hard work that you do as the Chair of Public Works. So thank you very much, Council President Perrella.
Thank you. I do it with all my heart for the village. Thanks. Okay, so I'll close it for the council, open it to the public. If anybody have any questions, anything to say about the points we just discussed? No, nothing, hearing none. So let's move on to H2, composting presentation, composting. This is something that the mayor wanted to include in the agenda, which is I went through, and I think it's great, and that's why we have the chair of resiliency task force right here, Mrs. Carpenter, right? That is great. I saw this as like.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing?
Hi.
So the individual from Compost for Life could not make it today to give that presentation, but if it does pass today, he is available to come to the full council meeting. But I had spoken to him about this, and this is something that the task force passed, so I'd be happy to go over the program generally and then answer any questions that you all have. So I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to read the proposal, but essentially this would be creating a composting program in El Portal, and excitingly, El Portal would be the first municipality in Miami-Dade County to adopt a composting program. I believe Fisher Island is considering it, but no other municipalities have done it. And I just wanted to speak really quickly on the benefits of composting in case you all are not familiar with that. But food waste and yard waste is the third leading emission of methane gas emissions, human-created methane gas emissions. So the diversion of food from landfills is a really easy way to address climate change and to mitigate the impacts. So the big reductions in composting are methane and carbon dioxide, obviously. And then just a fun stat that I found when I was preparing for my meeting with Compost for Life. So if all the food and yard waste from 2015 that was landfilled was composted, the net emission reduction would have been 14.8 million metric tons of carbon, which would be the equivalent of taking over 3 million cars off of the road for all of 2015.
Wow.
So the point is, composting is a big and easy thing that we can do to help the environment. So essentially, this would involve the company Compost for Life dropping off a big pink compost bucket to everybody's home. You'd keep it in your home, has a lid sealed in really tight. You'd collect food scraps. There'd be instructions on the bucket as to what can be composted and what can't be. And then just like a trash or recycling, you would leave it out on the curb. The company would come around, pick it up, leave you a fresh, clean bucket, and you'd repeat the process. So the company has proposed setting up an exclusive route for El Portal, and you could either do weekly pickups or bi-weekly pickups, depending on the size of your household. And you'd get a text message reminder the day before, and if we opt in as a community and are able to get a certain amount of residents, the price per household goes down, which is
Right.
significant. But a couple cool things that I really liked about this, and since you have all have already read the actual outline, the company would give us compost monthly reports, which would show the amount of food waste that we diverted as a village, and our carbon emission reductions, which I think would fit really well into the work that the task force is doing, and the priorities in the resolution that created the task force, which is to get to net zero carbon emissions in the next 10 years. The other thing, every 6 months, if you participate, if you're a household that participates in this, you get a compost credit, and they actually give you back compost. So I compost in my home, and it takes a really long time in your backyard to create compost that you can actually use in your garden, and in your landscaping. And through the system, you can throw away everything without any delay, and it gives it back to you really quickly. So I'm excited about this for my garden and my yard. And I think that's it. Those are all the highlights I wanted to hit. So if you guys have any questions that I can answer, in the absence of the representative, I would be happy to do so.
Sure.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes. Mr. Chair, sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate you, Madam Chair. Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that, coming into tonight, we have, I think, a couple of options, right? So we have the option of, if we think composting is a good idea, we have the option of, because under El Portal, we need to have, and the village manager will say this, and I think she already knows where I'm gonna go with this, just because our rules and regulations. So we need to have 3 different quotes.
Right.
We need to get 3 different quotes. So we need to reach out to 2 other companies.
So my understanding is that this was the only company that is doing this type of work.
I was actually searching online. I couldn't find anything. The only other people is Back to Earth, which are it's great because it's 3 teenagers, siblings. Yeah, they're down in Miami, and they do it for free, actually. But it's a drop-off location. You have to go drop it off, and the closest we have is by northeast something, but closer to downtown or Shenandoah, somewhere like that. But yes.
This might be considered a sole source, right? Which, Attorney Geller can tell us more about.
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman, Councilperson Fruits, Councilperson Martin. Looking at you, thinking, talking. But yes, there's, in addition to the other procurement methods under our charter, there is a very infrequently used one called sole source. I usually never allow them because it turns out they're never really the sole source. They're just the source somebody wants to use, and they disregard the others. But this sounds like this is that rare occasion when there really is just one person who does it, and if they're the only ones who do it, we can contract with them if we do enough due diligence and certify that it is in fact the only available company to do the work. We can't be forced to not do it because no one else but this company is actually undertaking it. So if somebody's done an internet search and, we could actually get that printed out and, attach it and keep it in the file and have proof that this isn't just, somebody wants to go to their cousin or something like that, that there is no one else, then we can justify this procurement, as Councilperson Martin says, under the sole source exception in our, the rare actual sole source. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Sure.
All right, thank you very much. and I'm just laughing because it's all good. I'm just laughing because this happened at the council meeting also, where I brought Juan up to speak, and then there was a discussion about how we should move forward, and I was like, if you guys just would have let me finish, I was going to let Juan speak. So in this occasion, if you guys would have let me finish, my suggestion was going to be, we have 2 options here. So I was going to say the first option, you guys, is that we think that composting is a good thing. We can pass it through to the full council, and within that time period between tonight and the full council, the village manager can search and see if there's other companies. If there's not if there's other companies, then at the full council meeting, she could bring those companies forward. If there's not other companies at the full council meeting, she can say, I've searched, this is what I found, this is the only company. That way, if we think that, because tonight what I wanted to try to do is get this passed through to the full council if we think that we want some type of composting program. Then the details, as far as if this is the only company or if there's other companies, we can get that done in between tonight and the full council meeting. The second option would be, is kind of like the first option, but it's just a longer option, which is that we can say we don't feel comfortable putting this through to the full council right now, have the village manager, again, search for other companies and bring either this company or this plus the other companies back to another committee meeting. I don't know. I don't think necessarily that that's necessary, because if we think that we want composting or we want to, look into composting, I think we should try to pass this through tonight, the committee, and then go to the full council meeting, allowing the village manager to have that time to look for other companies if they exist. That's my suggestion, Mr. Chair. It's back to you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, the other concern I had was like the quote they prepared for us. It's the first tier is actually 300 and plus, and that's a monthly. So that's been very
So I
positive
believe
about it. I think if at the beginning it's less than 100 people, what would be the charge?
I believe it's $19.99 if
Oh,
you
okay.
don't hit
Doesn't
that
go-
300
okay.
level. I think that's their standard rate, and then they're proposing if we could come up with some kind of bulk system that would be more affordable.
Okay,
And
perfect.
I just wanted to add one other thing too that I forgot to say. Given that you get the 6 months, every 6 months you get compost, we had discussed in the task force that for those individuals that maybe want to compost but don't have anything within their yard that they would want to use it themselves, we could set up some kind of program that they could donate that compost either to the village for use in our parks or to the women's club for use in the work that they do with the plant stand and things like that. So it's another kind of opportunity to give back to the city a little bit.
Perfect. That sounds good. Thank you for bringing that up. So that's a great idea. If somebody's like interested in doing that, that would be great. Yeah, for sure. Any discussions? Any?
Yeah, so I
Yes.
have a bit to say.
Yes.
I do actually I love this. I think it's a great idea. I think it's also very on brand for the city. I think we're a tiny city, which, sometimes it puts us at a risk of being forgotten. But I think we're small and we're nimble and in a great position to model awesome programs like this. So I think it is on brand. But then once we decide to move it to the council, and if the council likes it, I think also what we need to think about is effective marketing of this program to let everybody know what the benefits are. So we've started in my household doing composting on a very small scale. But I do think a lot of people don't know what the benefits are, and I think that that's something that needs to be explained, and maybe the owners of this company can help us with the marketing material and kind of get the word out as how impactful this is and easy it is to do. So I, for one, love it. I think we should move it to the main council meeting ASAP, and in between then determine whether or not this is actually a sole source, which I think it might be. But once it does get to the council meeting, I don't think this is a pass it and forget it type situation. I feel like this is something that we need to pub, and we also need to get in front of the eyes of other municipalities in Miami-Dade County as far as
Right.
small steps that we could all take to be better inhabitants of the earth. So kudos to you and for
Definitely,
bringing this
yes.
to us. I love it.
Perfect.
Thank
So,
you so much.
Madam Manager, any suggestions, any questions? You think it's something that's within our
Without our abilities, we could
abilities
do
to like, is
anything.
it gonna incur any expenses for the village, or prepare, I don't know, like Mr. Martin was saying,
If I may, Chairperson.
sure, go ahead.
The Francisco was the contact that I had at Compost for Life. I believe he's the founder. He did say that they're very familiar with educating communities on the benefits of composting, what you can compost, what you can't. And he said that he would have some programming that he would provide to the community if we decided to adopt the program.
And you actually, if you go to the Miami website, you actually have workshops and free lessons, or how you call it, to learn what to compose and the benefits and all of that. So it's within the county as well. Composing it's a matter of educating people, like you said. So it's and it takes time. But it's definitely a great idea. So if it's something that you guys are feeling, I'm sorry, let me open it to the public. If there's anybody in the public that wants to come up and have any questions? Sure.
Ms. Carpenter, could you say your name and address for the record while you're up there?
Yes, Elizabeth Fatal Carpenter, 237 Northeast 86th Street.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Garcia. I'm the building clerk for the Village of El Portal, 1912 Belmont Lane, Orlando, Florida. That's my address. Mr. Mayor, in regards to the composting, compost, the species of trees or plants that you're going to be planting, Miami-Dade does not allow certain types of species of trees to be planted or composted. That's the thing. That's a big problem right now. So right now we're dealing with the issue where we're talking to Miami-Dade and telling them, yo, can we the oak tree or certain types of trees or certain types of species of trees or certain types of species of plants that can be removed. Because the thing is, when you do zoning and when you try to put a house on a plot of land, a plot, you need to have a certain amount of species of trees specified. But the compost, I don't know whether compost would come into effect with us, because to be honest, a lot of people are not doing that right now. A lot of people are just flat out, I'm being honest, talking on behalf of the residents. They're like, really? Do we really need this? No. They really don't need this.
Okay.
They're basically gonna go to Home Depot and buy a compost post. A bag, a compost, and that's it.
Okay.
You
Mr.
understand? So, I know you're bringing up something that will benefit us, but how many homeowners do you know will actually do that? That's the thing. How many homeowners do you know, in fact, that will actually be like, okay, I'm gonna pay $19.99 for this service that I'm not gonna be able to use? I talk to homeowners every day on a daily basis because I'm the building clerk. The last thing they want to talk about is compost. They don't want to talk about plants. They don't want to talk about, using, fertilizer for certain types of species of trees. No, they don't want to talk about that. They don't. That's the last thing they want to talk about.
If I may,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Garcia?
Yes.
Let's talk offline about these items, and I think the presentation is put before the council, and they'll make the determination. But thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Well, I guess, there's, like I said, there's not gonna be 300, but there's definitely a few that will, like to, actually contribute to, this program. And thank you, Mr. Carpenter, again, for bringing that up. And so I just need a motion to, Mr. Mayor, anything?
No, I was gonna say, Mr. Chair, I want a motion to
Okay.
move the El Portal composting program to the May regular council meeting with the direction to the village manager to see if she can find two or other companies that do the same thing. Councilperson Martin.
That sounds good. And in addition, I would love to see if there's any cost associated to implementing this program, and if so, she can give us the complete cost of that.
Absolutely. With that would be the direction. I'd like to make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Second.
In a second? Okay, I got a motion to, pass these two items to, full committee, full, council meeting. Second by Ms. Martin. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call?
Roll call. Member Martin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nickerson,
Yes.
Chair Perella.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you very much, Ms. Carpenter. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for all your hard work
Thank
with
you
this.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Awesome
Appreciate it.
program. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to, I guess we are pretty much done, right? Now, we gonna go to good and welfare. If there's any member of the public that wants to come up and say something, anything to say, anything related, doesn't have to be related to public works, could be anything. Now is the time to do it. Nobody, hearing nobody. We have no unfinished business or any new business, anything to add? No? Okay, perfect. Well, may I, have a motion to adjourn the public, works meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair, the Public Works Committee meeting.
Perfect, I got a motion, I had a motion to adjourn meeting, the public, can I get a second?
Yes, a second.
Second by, Councilperson Martin, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay, hearing none, the Public Works Committee meeting adjourns at 8:55 PM.